What up, y'all? We're back again with another skate hacks video. Today we're talking about big flips. I'm not really going to go over how to big flip from start to finish because in my opinion, from what I've experienced, I feel like this trick is very easy to learn if you have a few prerequisites, as I should say. If you know how to do a few other tricks before the big flip itself should actually be pretty easy. I don't want to write this off as just being lazy. I'm just honestly speaking how I feel about this trick. I really just feel like it's very based upon a few other tricks like the big spin and a tray flip. Now you may think, well, what does a big flip and a tray flip have in common? Well, if you take a look at the board here, not my feet, not what I'm doing, just imagine that I'm not there and just take a look at the board. It's flipping a tray flip. It's pretty much the same thing as a tray flip. The only difference with a tray flip and a big flip is that your body is doing the backside 180 rotation. So the reason why I think this trick is easier than it sounds and that it looks is because you're applying the same tray flip concept. You're just going to have to wind up with that tray flip, and you're going to have to keep your feet rotating backside 180 and just land on that tray flip with the backside 180. So it's not necessarily a trick that requires a whole new set of rules or new concepts, whatever, that I could discuss. I really just feel like it's dependent upon tray flips, and it really helps to have big spins as well. I mean, it makes sense, right? You should know how to big spin before you try big flips. One thing I would want to say though is that if you've seen my big spin tutorial on how to backside big spin, you'll notice that I say that you should do a pop shove it, catch it, and then do a backside 180. So logically it would follow that, well, with a big flip you should do a varial flip, catch it, and then 180, but that's not how I think about a big flip at all. So the reason why I don't think about it this way is because I don't do a lot of varial flips. I don't think a lot of people do varial flips nowadays, and I just feel like thinking of a big flip as a varial flip 180, it just kind of complicates it. So I think it's sort of unfamiliar ground to be talking about a big flip as a varial flip 180. I just think of it as the tray flip motion, and I do a backside 180 with that. Now the main issue with this trick is going to be synchronizing that, synchronizing the flip and the scoop and getting that backside 180, getting all of that working together to perform the big flip. Now it's going to take some time. You don't want too much flick because that'll probably mess up the spin. You won't get as much of a spin, and you don't want too much spin with too little flick. Obviously you want a nice combo of both. So this is going to take time for sure, but what I would say is to set up like a tray flip, scoop it like a tray flip, but the issue is that you're not just going to be scooping. Of course, before you even start to pop the big flip, you want to be winding up and getting ready for that backside 180. So what I would suggest is that you have your tray flips down before this trick, and I've been getting bugged so much to do a video on tray flips. I'm going to do that hopefully soon. But with big flips, I think it's important to have tray flips first. You want to make sure you have a tray flip down, and you're going to be performing that same scoop and flip motion. The only difference is that once you scoop and once you flick, of course you're going to be doing the backside 180, so your feet are going to continue turning and you're going to hopefully land back on the big flip. This is a trick that isn't really caught much. I mean, of course you'll probably catch it if you're doing it down a stair set or whatever, but it's not a trick that you really worry about the catch. It's more so just about getting all of those movements synchronized. So the tray flip, the spin along with it, it may seem confusing if you're not used to a big flip. That's why I said it's important to know big spins beforehand, just so you know what it feels like to get that scoop and that backside spin. And for the big flip, you're going to have that tray flip set up. And another tip on that, you want to make sure that your back foot isn't too close to the bolts. So you're going to set up like a tray flip, and if you want to get a good pop on this big flip, you want to make sure that your back foot isn't too close to the bolts. So you're going to have it in the scoop position and kind of towards the tip of the tail. I've noticed that when you tray flip or big spin or big flip, whatever it is, any of those scooping tricks, and you have your foot towards the back end of the tail, you're going to get a better pop. It's just as simple as that. If you have it too close to the bolts, you're not going to get as good of a pop. You'll get the scoop, but you're probably not going to get as good of a pop as if you just you scooted your foot on down and moved it towards the very end of the tail. So that's my tip for getting a bigger pop on that big flip. Make sure you get a good solid pop so you can get it flicking all the way. And like I said before, I don't think this is a tutorial on how to big flip from start to finish. These are just my tips that helped me learn big flips, because it was actually pretty easy for me after learning tray flips and big spins. I feel like those two tricks are essential to learning how to big flip. And once you do that, you apply the same concept as a tray flip, except you're just winding up. You're winding up along with it. And it really depends on that synchronicity of that backside 180 and the tray flip scoop that you're doing. So it's going to take time, obviously, but my biggest tips would be that tray flip setup. Have your back foot on the tip of the tail if you want the best pop, and also just take the time getting that scoop and the flick both at that perfect point, so where it does that perfect big flip, and you wind up and you just spin along with it. You spin backside 180 with the tray flip. So those are my tips on big flips. Hopefully this helped out with learning big flips if you guys are learning them. Comment down below if you have any issues with big flips, or if any suggestions you have for future trick tip videos, future skate hack videos. Thank you guys for watching as always. See you next time.